For 700 years had these cities lain in peace with each other, half a day's journey apart of the great river Uvasaj, in the valley of Rajawata. So here is giving you a time scale again that these cities were established in peace for 700 years prior to their fall or being subdued, and 700 years prior to 2800 BC, which the fall took place, is 3500 BC. So from 3500 BC down to 2800 BC, these two cities were established in peace and established in great magnificence and glory before it was subdued by Sudga and his army. Verse 17. And the captain god Varsa chose one city, and the captain god Bakhtu chose the other city, and each of them took from their 1,000,000,000 angel warriors a sufficient number, and inspired the two great cities unto everlasting destruction. Even as mortals turn savage beasts into an arena to witness them tear and flay each other, even so sat these captain gods in their heavenly chariots, witnessing the two great cities in mortal combat. And when one had too much advantage, the angel host would turn the tide, or let them rest a while, then urge them to it again, holding the game in such even balance as would ensure the greatest possible havoc to both. So here is showing you the scale of intelligence of these angels to inspire nations to go against each other. It also stated that the same way we behold animals like dog fights, chicken fights in the arena, likewise do these false gods behold us killing off each other in warfare. And as is stated, they're witnessing these things in their heavenly chariots, which are spacecrafts. Whether it's seen by mortals or not, they're bearing witness. Verse 18. 8 years these battles lasted, and hundreds of thousands of men, women, and children were slain. When thus the great city were reduced, the gods let loose the band of death, whose angel office was to carry poison virus from the rotten dead and inoculate the breath of the living, and then in desperate madness make mortals fire their cities to keep them from falling into other hands. And in 8 years the great cities with their mighty temples were turned to ruin and to dust, and of the people left only the ignorant few, starving, helpless wanderers could tell the tale of what had been. So here, another level of intelligence by these false gods, by stating that while the bodies of the corpse are rotten, these false angels had a group of angels specifically designed to take the odor of these dead bodies and inoculate the breath of the living so they can die of sickness and disease, and drove some of the people desperate and insane to madness, where they burned their own cities instead of letting it fall to the enemy. And all these things were inspired by these false deities, showing you the level of intelligence they have over mortals. It's equivalent to a person graduated out of college taking over the mind of a 2-year-old. That's the scale that we're dealing with here. We're the 2-year-olds, the human race are the 2-year-olds, and these gods and these false angels are the college graduates. Verse 19. Sudga had said, all knowledge amongst mortals is imbecile to the gods in heaven. Therefore I will destroy all knowledge on the earth. And this was the same doctrine maintained by Tian, god of Japheth. So here is showing you that the same way that Tian subdued China with destruction and destroying all the ancient knowledge that was established for thousands of years prior, likewise is Sudga doing the same thing in India, destroying all the established history that had been there for thousands of years. So like I said, these wars were the reason for the migration going into Kemet. Because while these false gods were establishing these lands, which is Japheth and Shem, which is India, Pakistan, Afghanistan, that region, along with China and Asia, these wars created the migration westward into Syria, Mesopotamia, Canaan, going in to Egypt. And we're going to get into that in the story, in the establishment of Osiris. Verse 20. In such manner proceeded the captain gods of Sudga over all the land of India, laying low all kingdoms, and cities, and places of sacrifice, and places of learning. And in 100 years the mighty people of India were reduced to beggary, and to scattered tribes of wanderers. The great canals were destroyed, and the upper and lower country became places of famine and barrenness. And in the valleys of the mountains, in the abandoned fields, and in the wilderness lay the bones and skulls of millions of the human dead. And lions and tigers came and prowled about in the ruined walls of the fallen temples and palaces. Nor were there left in all the land a single library or book, or the art of making books, or anything to show what the great history had been. So here is showing you that these wars destroyed all the ancient history. So you can't find no history going back further than 2800 BC in Asia and China because of these wars, as it just described. As I stated before, this was the reason of the migration westward coming in to Egypt. As it stated in the verse, the place became famine and barren. Now, verse 21. Thus perished the Vedic language, the language of song and poetry, and of great oratory, except in a small degree, such as was preserved by the remnant of Faithists who had escaped through all these generations, still in secret worshiping the Great Spirit. So here is showing you how the Vedic language was destroyed. Verse 22. Hear ye next of Osiris and his dominion, and of Arabia, Persia, and Hellas. And with that, I'd like to say peace and blessings, and catch you on the next documentary called The Establishment of Osiris. Shalom.